Hi guys, it's Craig here, and today we're going to dry hop one of my home brews back here. So stay tuned, plus there's more topics to come on this week's Brew Wednesday. Whoa. How you doing? Nice home brew there. That's actually the bottom of the keg right there. That was a real ale, a beer kit, Coopers. Okay, so what I've got here, we're going to quickly show you how to easily dry hop a beer. Now, it's been a long while since I've done this. In fact, I don't remember last time I did it, but I know I did it. It might have been a couple years ago. But I have lots of hops in the freezer, and I need to get them, need to use them before they start to go stale. So this back here is an IPA, a Coopers beer kit IPA. Okay, and a lot of times those beer kits don't have a lot of upfront hop aroma, and it's hard for them to keep the hops fresh in those cans of extract. So this is where dry hopping comes in. So you don't have to boil anything, you don't have to do anything like that. You just get yourself some hops. And I've got 1 ounce of Centennial here, using these little paper cup things, and 1 ounce of Nugget Hops. Okay, now the Nugget Hops are a little old. They've been in the freezer. They've got quite a high alpha acid, but we're not using the bittering properties of them when we dry hop. So they got quite a bit of aroma, but the Centennial, wow, exploding with a very citrusy, almost like a super, like a hyper cascade sort of aroma in them. So beautiful. This is what we're gonna do. So 1 ounce of each of those. I got myself a bag, and I've got some Star San in this little tub here, and this is one of my reusable mesh bags. I could have used one of my disposable ones that people have sent in, but I figured I'd use those for grains. That way I can just chuck them. You know, it's easier that way. So that's been sanitizing. And a couple of balls. These are stainless steel, sort of like ball bearing like things, although they're out of a Connects toy kit, sort of like a Meccano set one of my kids used to have. So they're stainless steel. They don't have any aromas or any weird metallic things going on with them, so that's good. So this couldn't get any easier. Sanitize the bag, and we're just gonna, my hands are sanitized as well, and we'll just strain that off a little bit there. Okay, and then the hops. Now the hops don't need to be sanitized because they already have sanitation properties. So we're just gonna dump them in there. I mean, I don't know how much easier this could get. If you want to experiment with hops, hop aromas and flavors, this is a great way to do it. Now, I don't want to let the bag touch any surfaces now because it's been sanitized. I'm just going to try to tie a... I never went to Boy Scouts. There we go. Just a little knot at the end there. It doesn't have to be tight, just as long as the hops don't fall out. There. Oh! I forgot my marbles. I lost my marbles. Okay. Well, that's okay. So we'll grab our sanitized... I washed these with soap and water too. These are going to help weigh the bag down. I hope 2 of them's enough, so that the bag doesn't float on the top. That's what they're for, in case you wondered. Okay. So now we'll go through. There we go. Boom. And there's lots of room in there for the hops to expand. Okay? So let's go back here and see what we're going to do. Okay, I've actually got my other camera here, my iPhone here. So with what we've got here, this heat belt isn't plugged. It's plugged in, but it's not on. It's turned off right now. The beer was a bit cooler in the beginning. So this is the Coopers DIY fermenter, and this is part of the procedure. This you might have to do this if you don't have this particular fermenter, but just to kill two birds with one stone, I'm going to remove the lid. Okay, that's going to happen. You're going to get water on top like that. And then what you do with this fermenter is you just take this right out. That's your krausen ring, your krausen collar. That comes out, and that just can get washed right now. Now, here go the hops. Yep, right down. That's it. My lid back on. Bob's your uncle. I mean, that's just about as easy as that gets. So they're in there, and that's really all there is to it. Now, as with the Coopers DIY beer kit, now I can wash that all off right now, and it's easier to clean. Yuck. Ready for next time. Flung it onto my arm there. Okay, so that's dry hopping 101. Couldn't get any easier, and I hope you were able to see most of that. And I'm sorry for the malfunction of the second camera there, but I will be doing an actual full video on dry hopping. That way I can talk about all the different ways of doing it, and you know, how to use different types of hops, leaf hops, dry hops, how to, you know, if you want to just dump them right in, or maybe you want to rack it to a secondary before you put them in, stuff like that. Okay, but so I will be doing a separate video on that now that I've got my area all cleaned up here, but that was just a quick, you know, sort of a thing there I had to do anyway, so I figured I may as well do it on Homebrew Wednesday. That's a good beer. Now, this is really something that I think I need to share with you guys. About 8 or 9 days ago, I put a batch of Coopers sparkling ale. Now, this was a little bit of an expensive beer because you have to add, you know, the can of Coopers sparkling ale. You have to add a second can of unhopped liquid malt extract. You have to add 500 grams of dry malt extract and 300 grams of dextrose. That's what they suggest, excuse me, on the can. So that comes to, you know, that's when you're really cheaper to do all grain if you can. Because, you know, when you buy this liquid malt extract, it adds up. Okay, you're talking 18, 36, probably, you know, close to $40 something for the batch. But I wanted to try it because it's been a long time since I've tasted it, and last time I did it, I think I screwed it up. So, and that was a couple of years, 3 years ago. So, but you know, I thought I may have screwed it up again, because here's what happened. And I mentioned this on Facebook. I mixed up my sanitizer. I use Star San. Here's what's left in the bottle. The rest of it's in the tray there, but I mixed it up nice and fresh, you know. And then I think somebody texted me, or I got distracted or something, and I came back into the brewing area, and I put the beer together, and I forgot to sanitize the fermenter. It was just like I got distracted, I got pulled away, and when I came back, I thought I had already sanitized. But once I put all the beer and everything and got all the ingredients there, I thought to myself, I didn't see any Star San foam in there when I was pouring stuff in. And I thought, and I looked at my Star San bottle, and it was still all in the bottle. It wasn't in my tray here, which normally would be, because that's where I work with it, right? Well, I hadn't stirred it yet, so at least I got my spoon sanitized, because once I realized that I'd not sanitized the fermenter, I thought, well, I may as well not add insult to injury. So I sanitized my spoon, stirred it all up, and put the airlock on, and went to Facebook and cried on everybody's shoulder that I'd forgotten to sanitize the fermenter. And I thought the worst was going to happen. I mean, that's why we spend, you know, time and money on sanitizing. The beer started fermenting, you know, very quickly. and I started to smell coming out of the airlock, which is, and it was fine. It kept on going, fine. And, there were some encouraging comments on Facebook. Thank you very much. Well, if I go over to it, and just take a whiff out of the airlock, it's perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. It's clean smelling. There's no weird smells. There's no off smells. So I'm relieved, and I'm feeling rather lucky. This doesn't mean that you shouldn't sanitize. It just means that I've been sanitizing that fermenter for years, or however long I've had it, and I'm clean. It was very clean when I put the beer in it. So more than likely there was no buggies in there, just because I've kept it clean and sanitized over the period of time I've owned it, probably about a year and a half. So, oh, come on, Daisy, what do you want? You looking for some beer? Here. No. So, anyway, so I'm very lucky. But it does go to show, and I've read this, that sanitizing is an insurance policy. You don't have to sanitize to have a batch of beer come out right. It's just that if you don't sanitize, you're running a risk. You're running a risk of getting something getting in and taking hold. And you're getting an infection or a funny flavor or something like that. So this doesn't mean that you shouldn't sanitize, but I'm just letting you know that for anybody out there who's afraid to brew because you're afraid it's not going to work, or it's not, it's going to get infected or something bad's going to happen. Well, I just proved to you that if you sanitize, you really don't have anything to worry about. Because you can see that, I'm good over here, even though I didn't sanitize. Now, I would not make a habit of this at all. Anyways, I'm lucky, and just a little story for you, just to let you know that it's pretty robust stuff. Bad things can happen, but that doesn't mean bad things are going to happen every time. You're pretty safe making beer. Wine is even safer to make. It just works no matter what you do. Normally I do it the proper way and I follow the instructions, and if you do that, you can't go wrong. Even with me cutting corners, like sometimes I do just as an experiment, the wine tastes exactly the same as it does when you do the full 4 weeks, and it doesn't suffer at all. You can't go wrong. Okay, so don't be afraid to brew. If you're not a home brewer already, it's a lot of fun, and get yourself a nice clean space to work in. I've got my little thing to grind my grains with here. I've got my little induction burner over here, and just things that I can use to make up simple beers. Okay, so I just wanted to tell you that. The Star San situation, I use Star San even though it's cloudy, and what I have are these, and I've probably shown these before, but somebody sent me these. These are, he works at a chemistry facility, so he can get these. These are pH strips, and I'll show you one. They're made of, oh, there's one there. The other one, I had two of them out. One of them fell. They're made of plastic. These ones are. So you can reuse these. In fact, it still has the reading that I took when I measured my Star San before I made this video, just to make sure. See the one on the very right, the purple one there? That's telling me that my Star San is at a pH of 1. According to this, because you just hold it up, right, and you can tell what. And as long as it's 2 or below, you've got sanitation going on with it. So that's that. Now, a little bit of an update on more videos. I went out and I bought this. Now, if you can't recognize that, it's a rack of ribs. Yes, they were on sale, and you know what that means. That means there will be a Craig's Kitchen coming up, how I do my ribs. And I don't freeze my ribs at all. So I have to do it like the next day or two, because they're not going to last in the fridge, you know, long enough for me to leave them too long. So don't know if I'll get around to doing them tonight, but if I don't, I'll definitely be cooking them tomorrow, which means I'll be shooting video, and hopefully over the weekend I'll have an edited Craig's Kitchen for the ribs. And I'll tell you, you don't need a smoker, you don't need a barbecue, you don't need anything special, you don't need anything fancy. I'm just going to tell you that right now, and you'll see. You will see. You'll see. I wouldn't do a video if it wasn't going to work. So ribs, and I bought myself some sour pickles because I'm craving sour beer, and but sour pickles kind of solve that craving in a way. But would like to make another batch of sour beer. Another thing I'd like to do is make a 1 gallon batch of all grain beer, just to show you how easy it is just to do a 1 gallon. So if you don't have you know, a mash tun and all these big pots and whatever, you can still experience the taste and the procedure of working with grains when you do all grain. So see, this is the thing. See, I got my bench all nice and clean now, and it's going to stay this way so that I can shoot some videos. I still have to make a hard apple cider with the Pat Max brewing caps, and I've got lots of hops, so I may do a hopped hard apple cider, but that'll be, you know, extra on that. So I don't really have anything else to gab about, really. You remember last week I asked you to help me vote for my friend Rich Goyette, so he could win a microphone. You know, you guys were very, very helpful with that, and I just want to thank you so much for going and voting for him. He was in the top 3, and actually he was first in the 3, but it was up to the final decision was up to judges, and they treated him all equally, and he didn't win. But it's your votes that really pushed him up to the top like that and got him recognized. So I really want to thank you so much for that. Rich is a very talented musician, and he deserved to win. His mix was unique, but, you know, it's hard to win these contests, very difficult. So I think he's going to give it another whirl, and we'll see what happens. So check on Facebook, and I'll leave messages. If you still want to vote for him and help him out in the future, you can. It means a lot to both of us, the kindness and the support that we get from my viewers. I really appreciate it all. It's a win-win situation. So with that, I'm going to go. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon. Take care, guys. See ya. All right. Put your fries on there. Make them arrange nicely. And we'll get our cheese curds. Let me just try one. Oh yeah, perfect. Okay, here we go. Cheese curds. Sprinkle them all over the top of the fries. We're on the home stretch, guys. Okay. You've got a carboy here. You've got a bung, a rubber bung, whether it's part of an airlock or whether you're going to just put it on there to shake, you know, your sanitizer in, and you accidentally, you get it in there and you accidentally push it inside like that. What do you do? And then what happens next is you look down at your carboy and you think, oh my God,